This morning through the time of worship, I was so excited to sing the song, Father God, I Wonder. I know how many times I sang the song when Divya and Sandhu was small, maybe over 100 times, or there's never a day passed by when I called them and either to put it to sing or, put it to sleep. That time I remember almost 27, 28 years back singing these songs to them. Such an inspiring, such an encouraging song. It's been always to me, so I really enjoyed singing that song, and the memory of it was keep coming back to me. It's been such a joy to sing that song. I know there are parents with their newborns enjoy these moments of singing God's songs into their, those days there was no, mobile phones where we can play the songs, and even the tape recorder was not very easy for everyone to buy that time, but then singing was always good. So singing through communication to the children was something good, and I enjoyed doing that. That will be something which you should all do. Yes, this morning we are back again to the topic of the 10 commandments, and is it possible for us to live these 10 commandments in our present day life and situations, or is it that it was given to God's people to manage their life in those days? That's what we have been looking at. But then, however, it is that God has given these commandments, and it is there in His Word, is indeed an indication to us. There are certain things which should govern our life as we live by. So in that context, it's good if we can bring it back into our active life in the present to see if we can live by this, and what would be the benefits if we live by this. We have looked at the commandment. I said we on a reverse trend, and we have looked at the 10th commandment last time, and that was that it says, do not, guys, you have to remember, this commandment you are going to be by heart. At the end of the series, I will have a test. You shall not covet. Okay, that's okay, we'll go through the recap of the 10th commandment, and the commandment number 10 was do not covet. And we saw that this 10th commandment is to do with our thoughts and our desires. That's where it captivates us when we are, in it. That we tend to be under the control of our thoughts and desires, and we are waylaid. But then we looked at it, how can we keep this commandment in our life and honor God by not running the rat race, but by running the race of faith. Everyone around, we know that running the rat race of wanting to have this, that, everything is a fancy for their life, because they are running only for that in their life. We also saw that we can keep this commandment by not desiring the things which we have in God. This is not in the context that we should not desire things. Genuinely our needs we should desire, and we can place it before God. But then this, I would say, would more to do with our wants, and as it used to say in the olden times about this TV brand called Onida, honest pride, neighbor's envy. We keep looking and desiring things in that measure. Then Oops, it started again. Oops.
Don't use it.
It's something to, I don't know where it's the problem. Okay. I shall not use it. So by not desiring things we have in God, and then by not allowing our desires to be molded by the world around us, there's another tendency if we have control over, not allowing the world to mold us into its trap. It's possible that we will be able to honor God with this commandment in our life, and then finally we saw that by cultivating ways to be content. Cultivating ways to be content, that's what we have looked at and found that in keeping this would be our focus, and when we are all that in place in our life and allow God's guidance and help through the Holy Spirit, is that we still be in a position to live obeying and keeping this commandment. And this morning we want to look to the next one, commandment 9, which says that Exodus chapter 20:16 says that you shall not give false testimony to your neighbor. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. We are surrounded by words all around. We are rather bombarded by words all the time, through WhatsApp and social media, and everything around us is bombarding us with words in many forms, but then not in the context of sitting down and talking face to face. That is become very less. Though words are there flying around us in quantum, but the quality of sitting down and talking to one another is reduced. Words are everywhere, words are vital, but then also see in the context of these words which are flying around us, what we see is too frequently words are not true. These words which are flying around us are not true, and because of that we say the problem which we face is loss of truth in the public space is common. I would say 80% minimum of what we are bombarded with may not be true, though there's so much of words, loss of truth in the public place is common. We tend to lie at work. We tend to lie to the doctors. We tend to lie about our salary. We tend to lie to the police when we are caught. And in the context of all this, sometimes we tend to see that lies are so universal that some say telling truth is impossible. We come to that stage that, we come to the point of doubting whether we are able to say truth at all. There was this, we told that there is this movie, in 1997 there is a movie was released, and the title of the movie was Liar, Liar. And the main actor, the lead actor of the movie was, Jim Carrey, and he played the role of an advocate. And we know, advocate seldom say truth. And he says that one day his son asked for a challenge to his dad, or expressed a wish before his dad, rather, and told his dad, "Dad, I want you to do one thing. The next 24 hours, I want you to tell only truth." And he says he agreed for this challenge or the wish list of his son, and practice telling truth only for 24 hours. And he said that the movie, I have not seen the movie, but I read in the book, and he said that the movie narrates the hilarious unfolding of sequence of event of he telling the truth for 24 hours. And the outcome of that day was this: he lost a client, he hurt one of his colleagues, his private secretary resigned, his mother called up and said, "I'm not going to talk to you anymore." The sum total of a man telling only the truth for 24 hours. So in that context, being honest seems to call for trouble. Sometimes we think that it's only called for trouble. If being honest and telling the truth is only calling for trouble, why get into trouble? And in the context of that, we see that if when we use these words of lies and we balance it out with truth, what happens is our use or abuse of truth affects our relationship with others. We also see that lies are not simply wrong, but it hurts people. When we tell lie, it hurts people. And lies carry a price tag someone has to pay. In our telling lies, it carries a price tag. On it, someone has to pay. The consequence of this universal atmosphere of untruth turned to be very serious for us to live by. The atmosphere of lies and it affects all of our relationship. It results in breakdown of marriage, and it breaks down families as well, because we are obsessed of telling lies. So the context of the core or the concept of truth out of this, as a result, the concept of truth is sliding down on the slippery slope. There is no value for truth in the public domain. The only difference between truth and lies is your viewpoint. Oh, if you're telling lies, that's my viewpoint. If you're telling something untruth, that's your viewpoint. People doesn't want to give the right name or tag it as lie. Everything hangs on where you stand and which way you look. Each person is entitled to his or her opinion, and what each individual, that opinion, for each individual, that opinion is perfectly right. I'm governed by this right for me. And that's the way we have come to live, and that's what we brought into our life, or rather I would say that the world has molded us to think and believe and behave us in this manner. But then what is the heart of the matter when it comes to this? What is the heart of the matter? Heart of the matter which ought to govern our life is our God is a God of truth. We read in the Gospel of John, Jesus makes the statement, "I am the way, the truth, and life." And as we go down the same chapter, Gospel of John, chapter 14 says that, in a little while I'll send you the Comforter, the Spirit of truth. We see in the Bible, as we see and we study, we see that God is God of truth. And that is the very basic character, the center of God's heart is being God of truth. There is no falsehood in it. He is not like us, like the shifting shadows. He never changed. In Hebrews we read, Jesus is the same yesterday, today and forever. So this means to us that God is true in all He does. He is true to His word. He is true to His character and true to His nature. And we read in the Bible that we are made in His image. We carry His image. But then if we carry His image, this is where it need to match and connect with. That God is a God of truth and God is true to His word, true to His character and true to His nature. But yet, we find ourselves in this great struggle that we turn out to be people of lies. We are inconsistent and our good character may only often go to skin deep. We, are shallow in our character. We are not able to put up or show forth the same quality which we see in God and in His image we have been made. But then we see in Jesus a man who has been truth in everything what He said. He practiced what He has preached. He told His followers to turn the other cheek when someone slaps at you. And when He was brutally beaten, that's what He has shown. He taught that forgive those who persecute you. And that's what He cried out on the cross. Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. So we need to see this contrast, what is there in us, where we are supposed to be the mirror image of God in the context, because we have been made in His likeness and His image. But then we see we have got into this nature of being untruthful, and we find in us this nature of lies and don't wanting to take responsibility for our life. Go back. We are living in this, that we prone to that responsibility when it comes. That's what we see in the Garden of Eden. If you truly look at what happened to Adam and Eve when having disobeyed God and ended up doing what was forbidden of them. If you say that, what are the dictionary say that Adam did not tell the truth, nor did tell his lies. But then he disowned the responsibility of what happened. One reason for that is we like to deny and own responsibility. We like to cover up. And we want to protect ourselves. We think that by doing this, we are protecting ourselves. We want to protect ourselves from the truth that shows us what we really are. So this telling lie and this habit of telling lie is, works as a, or rather we falsely think that it works as a cover of protection for us from exposing the true nature of what we are. And this we see, where did this universal, temptation to evade responsibilities come from? Is from none other than the first man and his wife, Adam and Eve. And because of that, we see this tendency has crept into us and made us to be people of lies, and we become people who characteristically duck responsibility, blame it on someone, blame it on something or anything else. And this has been continued through. And when we see in the life of Jesus, when truth has confronted the lies, it was that we are given into lies. In Matthew chapter 26, we say that, there was many false witnesses came forward to contradict Jesus and accuse him or twist what he has spoken in the public space. They have twisted and misrepresented Jesus' words. When confronted with one human being who was completely true, we told lies about him. That is the nature which we can see in us. Standing before Pilate at the time of trial, Jesus made the statement, "For this reason I was born, and for this reason I came into this world, to testify the truth." And Pilate asked immediately, what is truth? Whereas truth is standing right before him at an arm's distance, but he could not understand or see truth eye to eye. And he took the responsibility of washing his hands and absolving himself of the responsibility of what's going to happen to Jesus. And we see at the cross, or we see at the crucifixion, or we see at his trial, humanity tries to deny responsibility. But then we see on the cross, God in Jesus takes the responsibility for us, for the bad things which we have done. When we shun responsibility, we need to see that Jesus has always been extending his hand of responsibility to take upon our guilt and others upon him. In Jesus we see he being the full of truth, owns responsibility for our sins, and he is not giving up on that at any point of time in his life. So that is the contrast between us and God. God, the heart of the matter when it comes to this commandment, we need to realize is this, that God is a God of truth. God is true to his word, true to his character, and true to his nature, which ought to be our nature as well, because we represent him. We are created in his image. But then what we found about us is that we become people of lies, and we are prone to duck responsibility in our life. But then how do we fight these lies? How do we fight lies? Beware of the power of tongue. That is one thing by which we tell lies. We need to realize that words have power than we give credit for it. Words carry power. We read in the book of James, the words we speak has the power of life and death, or the tongue has the power of life and death, what it produces. It says that one preacher, one Sunday when he came to preach, he carried along with him a big backpack, and he carried something to the pulpit, and he said, I'm going to show you the most destructive weapon in this world. And everyone was very curious, and then they were watching us. He opened the bag and took out one, weapon at a time, and first he took out was a sword, and he swung it in the air and told that this, can do this, and it can cut and wound people. But he said, but this is not the must, this is not the most dangerous weapon. Then he picked up another one. He picked up a gun, and he said, this can fire bullet, and it can kill people instantly. And he said, no, this is not the most destructive weapon. And then he took out something, hanging like, people were, quite taken aback by the look at it. And he said, what is this? I said, this is a human tongue, and this is the most powerful, weapon which can destroy life, this can destroy people. It says, the tongue is the most insignificant organ in our body. It says that it weighs only 0.045% of our body weight. So I calculated the weight of my tongue and my wife's tongue as well. And my tongue weighs around 50 gram and hers is around 40 gram. But then, the power, destructive power it holds, we know. We all know what our tongues can do to us. So we need to realize, when it comes to, this commandment about testifying, you shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. We need to know that it is through the words which we speak most of the time, and we need to beware of the power of the tongue. Remember the price lies. Remember the price of lies. It can cause havoc. Another example which is commonly shared is like this. An young man came to a mob. He was confessing of a crime he did, I don't know what to do. I have done this, I have spoken bad about so and so person. I feel so sad now, but what should I do? I'm feeling so guilty. This monk said, gather some feathers and come. And he said, he have some solution to his guilt. So he went and gathered the feather, and he said, no, you go and place it one in front of each of the houses in the village. And he said, oh my, things made easy. And he ran to keep this feather in front of every house in his village. And he came back, yes, I did as you said. And the monk said, now you go and collect it all back and come. He said, what? Collect it all back? How can I collect it? It all would have flown away. He said, that's what you are done. You can no way repair what you have done. It carries a price. It breaks relationships. And it breaks families. And over and above, the price of lies is that, the liar ends up unable to trust others. If you are habitual of telling lies, one of the price you pay is you learn, you turn around to be not able to trust anyone. And that affects your relationship. And a more serious problem is that by lying, we start to destroy our ability to detect what is wrong in our life. When we are in the habit of telling lies, we are not, shun the ability of being able to detect what is wrong with our life. And lies have an extraordinary habit of growing. to cover up one lie. How many lies you had to say sometime? And Martin Luther said like this: lies are like snowball. As they roll, they become bigger and bigger. You may think that one lie will save you from that present situation, but then it never. It will grow bigger, bigger, because you will have to tell many lies to cover up that one lie. And the third one I would say is shun gossip. There was this man called Earl Wilson. I googled out, he found that he's been known as the gossip columnist. His pet name is gossip columnist. And he says like this: gossip is when you hear something you like about someone you don't. Gossip is when you hear something you like about someone you don't like. Or gossip is repeating private information to someone who is neither part of the problem nor part of the solution. And the book of Proverbs gives us a clear guidance when it comes to gossip. Proverbs chapter 26. Proverbs chapter 26 verses 20 and 22, it says like, as charcoal to embers and as wood to fire, so is quarrelsome man kindling strife. The words of verse 22, the words of gossip are like choice morsels. They go down to a man's innermost parts. Verse 20, without wood a fire goes out, without gossip a quarrel dies down. So we need to realize how hurtful and damaging gossip can be, and we need to be a people who do not gossip and those who stop gossip. We need to remember, if you are the habit of gossip, we need to know, tell ourselves, gossips are never trusted, because they breach confidence, they break confidence. Because of that, it's never trusted. And we also know that one who brings gossip also carries gossip. If you accept him, the next time you see that he has carries gossip about you to someone else. And secondly, we need to know that gossip, those who gossip tend to be those who attract gossip about themselves. So because of this, we need to know that we are called to shun gossip. And then we need to become people of truth. And there was this actor called Betty Midler. She said like this when she was giving an interview. She said, I never know how much of what I say is truly true. I never know. He said, I don't know how much of what I'm speaking is true. One of the tagline during World War II was careless talk costs lives. Careless talks cost lives. So sometimes we learn to practice silence. I think a couple of days, a week back, I posted one on the KGC group as well. 20 ways the Bible exhorts us to practice silence in different situations. And it's an encouragement for us. We are not going to have answers all the time for every situation. There are some ways we can answer is even by holding silence. By holding silence itself is an answer. You can refer back to that. That would be something good for us to, build ourselves up in the context of this. But then, if God says that do not give false testimony against your own neighbor, his intent is that we ought to become people of truth. We ought to become people of truth. How do we become people of truth? It's not enough to reject the bad. We need to take hold of the truth. We need to be known as a man of truth. It means we ought to be all the time be people who are affirming truth. And that sometimes goes against our deepest nature. Telling truth all the time doesn't come naturally for us, because naturally we are turned, or we are geared to be telling lies, shunning responsibility in our life. But that's what we need to build up towards. And how do we build up? By being open. Build accountability. Make someone accountable if you tend to lie. Tell him, hold me accountable for what I say. Feel free to ask me those uncomfortable questions. Bring in a rein, a bridle upon ourselves by making ourselves accountable. It goes against the inbuilt human tendency to lie. It goes against our inbuilt tendency to cover up and to blame others, to sweep things under the carpet. But being open and being accountable can be of great help for us. These are the benefits of being building your life under accountability relationships. The second aspect is be an encourager. Be an encourager. There was this one church, and the pastor was finding it very difficult within the church, because there were so many groups and groupism and all those, when there's become groups, each group will talk about other groups, and that was kind of going against the peaceable existence of the church, and he didn't know what to do, and he came up with this idea, and he spoke to the people one day, and one Sunday he said, I just thought of the situation which we are facing, and I thought that we could practice this, that MEF, that is mutual encouragement fellowship. And they knew they were struggling with this problem, and they were all very happy, and he said, let's do it. We will do it. And he said, how are we going to be doing it? And he said, think about it. And what he came out with an acronym for this thing, T is, when you speak, ask yourself, is it true what I am speaking? Every time when you speak, ask yourself this question, is it true? Yes, will it help? What I am talking, will it help to build one another? I, is it inspiring? N, is it necessary? And K, is it kind? If we are able to talk and build our conversation around this thinking, this thing, he said, we can have mutual encouraging fellowship. And practice this all the time, and we will enjoy mutual encouraging fellowship. Have control over everything what you talk. Is it true? Will it help? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? And that will automatically bring in mutual encouraging fellowship. But in the process of encouragement, we also need to learn to avoid being flattery, using flattery. Encouragement is not flattery. Flattery is you go out of bound to talk good about someone with whom or from whom you are expecting something. Flattery, it says that, is insecure praise. We compliment someone, often trying to get something out of them and don't mean what we say. That's what flattery is all about. Proverbs 26:28 says that try to honestly encourage and praise what is good. Proverbs 26:28 says that a flattering mouth works ruin to everyone. But Paul says in Philippians chapter 4, 8 and 9, try honestly encourage and praise what is good and noble. Think about those things. The other aspect is, being true to your word. The third one is be true to your word. Speaking is a serious matter. Don't treat it lightly. In this modern society, we treat words too lightly. That's why I said, what is in the social media or what is in the common is hardly any truth, carries hardly any truth. Honesty is what we say is vital for the health of the society. And that demand all of our effort to be truthful or be true to your word. And we need to be coming to the point of being willing to pay the price even when it hurts. Jesus says in Gospel of Matthew, let your yes be an yes and let your no be a no. Let there be nothing in between. Psalm 15 says this, that one of the things Psalmist says, who can come up into your presence, and he narrates various things. And in verse 4 it says that one who keep his word even when it hurts, who is able to come up into God's presence, is one who is able to keep his word, being honest, speaking, is being true to his word and being able to keep his word even when it hurts. We need to bring before God what we say, so that we may be known as trustworthy men and women, those whose words are both honest and true at all point of time. It's not easy to, when it comes to Ten Commandments, it puts demands on our life. It's not easy to live these 10 commandments, but then it is equally possible to apply these commandments in our life, and in doing so, we are only honoring God. We are increasing, we are displaying His fame and name through us. So in reflection as this morning, reflection and response, we need to ask ourselves, who are we? People of truth or people of lies? It's a time for you to ponder, reflect upon yourself. Do we have the tendency to shun responsibility? Do you have that? Do you see those traits in your life? Having the tendency to shun responsibility. I'm a man who has control over my tongue, or my life is like a ship without a rudder. Read it in James chapter 1 to 3, we see this. Do we recognize the of lying, what it can cause. Breaking of relationship, breakdown of families and marriages, and hurt and pain we cause to others. Are we willing to shun gossip? Are we willing to keep our promise even when it hurts? Or are we willing to speak the truth even when it hurts? It is this moment for us this morning to reflect and respond to these questions. And I ask you this morning, take a couple of moments to ponder through these questions in your life and deal with this. It may be a struggle to acknowledge truth about you when it comes to these questions, but I would say that would you take a moment in closing and posturing before God and allow the Spirit of God to speak to you. Take an account of your life and the way it spans out on a daily basis. If it is going out of control, I think it's the time that you have reigns over your life, over your tongue, over the habit patterns which has built into our life through these years, and to bring it to a point of surrender before God. Because God wants us to be a people of truth, because we carry His image. When He created us in His image and likeness and His character. And He said that we say this of God. God is true to His word, true to His character, and true to His nature. And we need to imbibe that nature in us. Allow the Lord to speak to you and touch you this morning. We read in Job says that I made a covenant with my eyes. We can make a covenant with our mouth as well before the Lord. To shun gossip, not to speak lies, but to speak truth only, always. Having allowed the Lord to speak to you this morning, I want us to turn to this next slide and want to read these words together for us. Matthew chapter 5 verse 14 and 16 says, at the count of 3, I want all of us to read together this verse. 1, 2 and 3. Jesus said, "You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good deeds and praise your Father in heaven." Jesus is speaking this about each one of us. You are the light of the world. I want to push you this morning one step further. I want you to honor this verse. And I want to challenge you to make it first person and confess it aloud this morning. Wherever it says you need to turn it as I am the light of the world. Jesus said, I am the light of the world. It's a self-ownership, self-accountability of the calling Jesus has on your life. But then when you want to make that confession, I want you to stand if you're willing. Make it as a challenge. Own up these words to your personal life. Not generalize it across the spectrum, but then bring to the application to your life. Lord, you said, I am the light of the world. And if you're willing to do that, I want you to stand up and repeat this verse once again in our midst. And through this, we are going to honor our Father in heaven. So wherever you see a second person in that measure, I would say that make it replace those words with I. And where you are, I am the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden, neither do people. Then it comes to the last part. It says that in the same way, let my light shine before men, that they may see my good deeds and praise my Father in heaven. Right? So again, at the count of 3, we will all do that. 1, 2, and 3. I am, Jesus said, I am the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden, neither do people light a lamp and put it above. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let my light shine before men, that they may see my good deeds and praise Father in heaven. Father, we want to thank you that, Lord, we, in doing this morning, taking responsibility for our life and the way we ought to conduct and live in this world. Lord, we want to bring an end to the habit of shunning responsibility in our life. We want to end the habit of telling lies and falsification we spread about others. Lord, this morning, as we speak these words which you have spoken concerning us, we are owning up a responsibility as and a mandate of living as people of truth, and to honor you in keeping this commandment and practicing the wholeness of this commandment through our life. Help us, Lord, to be people of truth, those who shun lies and gossip in our life, and be people of truth and speaking truth even when it hurts. And to that, Lord, we surrender ourselves. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.